Welcome back, folks. If you haven't seen the previous video to this three-part series regarding OpenAI and Anthropic, go on over to my channel as this is part 2 of that series. If you've been following along, hit that bell icon to get notified when the next video gets posted or any of the new series we post. Currently planning on continuing to post 3-part videos in a given series. Let me know your thoughts on this format so far. Alright, so we've covered how these two AI powerhouses came to be, but here's where things get really interesting, because while OpenAI and Anthropic share similar origins, their 2025 strategies couldn't be more different. It's like watching two chess grandmasters playing completely different games on the same board. Let's start with OpenAI because honestly, their current strategy is both brilliant and absolutely wild when you really break it down. Sam Altman and the OpenAI team have set what might be the most audacious goal in tech history: 1 billion users by 2025. Think about that for a second. Facebook took 8 years to hit 1 billion users. Instagram took 10 years, and OpenAI wants to do it in essentially 3 years from ChatGPT's launch. But here's what's fascinating. They're not just throwing spaghetti at the wall hoping something sticks. They've got a 3-pronged strategy that's actually starting to make sense. First, there's the infrastructure play. OpenAI isn't just building better models. They're building what they call AI infrastructure for the world. We're talking about massive compute investments, partnerships with cloud providers, and essentially trying to become the AWS of artificial intelligence. The idea is simple. If every company in the world needs AI, OpenAI wants to be the pipes that AI flows through. But the really clever part is their second move, the Apple partnership. Now, we can't dive too deep into specifics because these deals are still evolving, but the writing is on the wall. Apple has billions of devices in people's pockets right now. If OpenAI can get their technology deeply integrated into iOS, Siri, and the Apple ecosystem, they don't need to convince 1 billion people to download ChatGPT. They just need to convince one company to flip a switch. Think about it. Every iPhone user suddenly has access to advanced AI without having to learn a new app or change their behavior. It's the distribution strategy that every startup dreams of, but only a few companies in history have actually achieved. The third prong is what I call their brand momentum strategy. OpenAI has something that money genuinely can't buy. They own the conversation around AI. When your grandmother asks about artificial intelligence, she doesn't say machine learning or large language models. She says ChatGPT. That brand recognition is translating into what they're calling the strongest revenue engine among big AI players. And the numbers back this up. We're looking at reports suggesting OpenAI is approaching $3.6 billion in annual recurring revenue. For context, that's more than most SaaS companies achieve after decades in business. OpenAI did it in under 2 years. Now here's where OpenAI's strategy gets really interesting, and honestly, a little concerning if you're an investor. Their current valuation sits at about 13.5 times forward revenue. In traditional software, that might be reasonable, but here's the kicker. OpenAI's costs are growing almost in lockstep with their revenue. In normal software businesses, you build it once and sell it 1 million times. Your costs go down as you scale, but with AI, every query costs money, every conversation burns compute, every new user actually increases your expenses significantly. So OpenAI is essentially betting everything on 2 things happening. First, that compute costs will plummet fast enough to make their unit economics work. And second, that they can build such a dominant position that they can eventually charge premium prices for what becomes an essential service. It's a high-stakes game, but if it works, we're looking at the first truly global AI utility company. Now, while OpenAI is going for mass market domination, Anthropic is playing what I'd call the enterprise specialist game. And honestly, it might be the smarter long-term strategy. Dario and Daniela Amode looked at the AI landscape and made a calculated decision. Instead of trying to be everything to everyone, they're going to be the absolute best at the things that make businesses the most money. And what makes businesses the most money? Code? Think about it. Every company in the world needs software. Every business is becoming a tech business whether they like it or not. And coding is still this massive bottleneck. You've got brilliant business minds who can't implement their ideas because they can't code. You've got existing developers who spend 70% of their time on boring, repetitive tasks instead of solving interesting problems. Anthropic looked at this and said, what if we could be the best coding assistant in the world? Not the most popular AI chatbot, not the most consumer-friendly interface, but the tool that actually makes programmers and businesses more productive. Here's what's brilliant about their approach. While OpenAI is burning cash trying to serve everyone, Anthropic is building deep, valuable relationships with enterprises that can afford to pay premium prices for premium service. Enterprise customers are different. They don't care if your AI can write poetry or help with homework. They care about three things: reliability, security, and return on investment. Can your AI consistently help their developers ship code faster? Does it understand their security requirements? Will it actually save them more money than it costs? Anthropic's answer has been a resounding yes, especially with their latest Claude 4 release. They've introduced what they call extended thinking capabilities. Essentially, Claude can now work through complex problems step by step, showing its reasoning process. For coding tasks, this is game-changing because developers can actually understand why the AI suggested a particular solution. But here's the really smart part. They're not trying to replace developers. They're trying to make the developers that companies already have dramatically more productive. It's augmentation, not replacement, which makes it much easier for enterprises to adopt. Want to see how well this strategy is working? Look at Cursor, the AI-powered code editor that's built on top of Claude. They've gone from 0 to $100 million in annual recurring revenue in just 12 months. $100 million ARR in 1 year, powered largely by Anthropic's technology. This tells us two things. First, there's massive demand for AI coding tools, and second, when you build the right tool for the right audience, adoption can happen incredibly fast. While everyone's been watching the OpenAI versus Google battle, Anthropic has quietly become the go-to choice for serious coding applications. They're not the flashiest, they're not getting the most headlines, but they're building the most valuable relationships. So here we are in 2025, watching these two strategies play out in real time. OpenAI is betting on ubiquity. Be everywhere, serve everyone, own the AI conversation. Anthropic is betting on depth. Be indispensable to the people who build the future, even if that's a smaller group. The fascinating thing is that both strategies could succeed. There's room in the AI ecosystem for a mass market player and an enterprise specialist. In fact, they might even complement each other. But the question that keeps me up at night is this: what happens when these strategies start to overlap? What happens when OpenAI gets serious about enterprise coding? What happens when Anthropic decides they want a piece of that consumer market? Because right now, we're in the honeymoon phase where there's enough opportunity for everyone. But as the market matures, as the easy wins get harder to find, these two very different approaches are going to collide. And when they do, we'll find out which bet was right, the bet on being everywhere or the bet on being essential. Next time, we'll dive into what makes each of these companies truly unique in 2025, because beyond the strategies and the business models, there are some fundamental philosophical differences that are shaping the entire future of artificial intelligence. But that's a story for another time. That wraps it up for this one. Drop us a comment. Let us know your thoughts. If you enjoyed the content, please don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to keep up to date on content as we release them. You don't want to miss out.